Hello everyone, welcome back, and today we're going to be continuing to look at a scenario of what if civilization started over. We are on episode 10 of this series, and in the last episode, we saw a whole bunch of events happening over here in East Asia. If I remember correctly, it was also the same episode we saw these new civilizations down in Africa forming, and also this happening up here in the British Isles. So yeah, if you haven't seen the previous episodes, make sure you do watch those now because the story is progressing. You're going to want to know how it comes together because this is not really relevant in the grand scheme of things now, but it will be eventually. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get right on into it. And before I do start, I do want to say that I've been trying to do all these videos in one clip, so it's less of a load on me, and so I have more time to record more videos instead of spending that time editing. Of course, I'm stuttering and saying unnecessary phrases randomly, but I don't feel like that really takes much away from the grand scheme of things. I feel like even then, it's still good content at the end of the day. At least good content in my standards. Might not be in yours, but anyways, without further ado, let's jump right on into this. And where to start? Where to start? There's a lot of things I want to do today with limited time too. I only get 22 minutes to record. I think I'm gonna start off over here in England, where in the last episode we saw this thing absolutely beginning to collapse, and we're gonna continue with that because we're gonna see yet another country breaking away from this English kind of thing, and that's gonna be this red country that does not take over all that land here, and soon after that we're gonna see yet another country forming just to the north of it, and that will consist of this land here. Finally, we're going to see a massive split, and this thing will be splitting into three. The first group will be the populated area group in the north area here. They are going to be this purplish color here. And then finally, we're going to see a split, which will be represented by this brownish color here, which will take all this land here, leaving just this remainder down in the south. We now have a lot of countries in the British Isles, and it's time to give each of them a capital. This pink-ish country already has a capital, so we don't need to give them a new capital, but we do need to give capitals to each of these guys, which isn't really realistic because there are definitely not this many major cities here, but you know what, it's fine. We can count major settlements for now. That works. But yeah, let's head on right over to Ireland, where this thing is pretty unstable. To start off, we're gonna check up with these two over here, the gray team and this weird-ish thing here, because we're going to see a country kind of declaring independence from both of them, which is kind of weird because I mean that's not really happened before. But a country will gain sovereignty from two different nations around the same time, and this will be a weirdly shaped yellow country, and it's going to be a very tall nation, and it's going to cut the tan country into two. And this is going to kind of cause another thing to happen, and that is the seizing of this land over here by this guy here. Soon after this, we're going to see this guy splitting as we're going to see the Northern Irish area breaking away and forming its own new country. After this, we're going to see this main area over here, the main populated area at least, breaking away and forming its own new country as well. With that, I think our Ireland update is about done. Might as well add like a new country down here or something to give equal representation to each of these regions. And yeah, I think that will look like this. And I'm not gonna give these guys capitals because they're kind of small, and I feel like that would clutter up the map. So I'm not gonna do that. But now we're gonna head on over to where do I want to go to? Probably over to the Mesopotamian region here, because this yellow country is having some internal struggle. And what is this internal struggle? Well, this region over here in Qatar is a little rebellious, and it's going to break out into straight up rebellion pretty quickly. And yeah, the northern regions of Qatar as well as Bahrain will try to gain their independence here. And very quickly, they're going to realize that the yellow team is pretty incompetent and unable to fight them off. So they're going to be successful in this. They're actually going to be able to create their own country. And yeah, their capital is not even going to be on the mainland. Their capital will be placed over here on Bahrain. So yeah, you can see the basically all the country, and it looks like it doesn't have a capital, but it does have a capital. So yeah, uh huh. I don't know what else to say about that guy, but yeah, that does happen. And let's head on over to Central Asia here, where I kind of want to talk more about this because this has been pretty silent in a way. I feel like more would be happening here, and we're going to be seeing that because this area is being very quickly explored and a lot of interest is being gained in it. They're going to reach the mountains in Kyrgyzstan, and they're also going to explore pretty far up northward into Kazakhstan. At this point, multiple countries are looking towards expanding into this region. More specifically, the Orange team sees more opportunity to expand, which is their favorite thing in the world. So they're going to go ahead and begin to do that, as they will go ahead and claim all this land here, which is a pretty healthy size of land, if I do say so myself. And yeah, they're going to be forced to stop their expansion at this point. We now head down to the bluish country here, who will be gaining some land, but not all too much because they are pretty large for their population size and they don't want to create too much pressure internally, so they're not going to do all that. From here, we're going to look at this purplish pink country, this Persian guy. They're going to be expanding into all this land over here, and they're going to annex it. From here, the green team will continue their outward expansion, but we can't really talk much about the green team because the green team has slowed down and they're kind of falling apart. We'll talk more about that in a future episode, but for now, we're going to head up to these guys up here. First of all, this guy here will go ahead and expand all the way over to the Kazakh Lake. I have no idea what this lake is called still. I should definitely know what it's called, but I don't. So, yeah, they're just going to expand over this way, and they're going to claim this lake here, and they're going to look towards moving their population further out eastward, which will probably benefit them. I don't know. From here, we head on over to this guy who is going to go ahead and consolidate their outer boundaries. And that will look a little something like this. They're going to be a little spikier, but I mean, that's kind of to be a given because otherwise it wouldn't look as cool. But now we have a cool looking border here. And while we're at this, might as well do the Caucasus region here, who hasn't consolidated their outer edges quite yet. So yeah, first of all, this Georgian country will be doing it, gaining all this land here. Then we're going to see the Azeris doing it. They're just going to push up the border a little bit. And yeah, that hints that they're not done expanding. But yeah, let's head on over to this bluish thing here, which will be expanding into all this ground right here. I think this line up here is fine, but yeah, we're going to see this being the borders of this area now. And this is looking like prime real estate for a new country to come into existence, but we'll have to see. Anyways, let's get out of that region and talk about this Russian region over here because it is very quickly becoming explored, as this area is the only place for most Europeans to explore into because, I mean, look at the continent, it's almost fully explored, except for this Russian area, this part of Finland, Iceland, of course, and yeah, that's it. And yeah, this area is gaining a lot of interest in the minds of most of these countries, and the pink team is one of those countries who lost a lot of land and they're eager to get back into expanding. We haven't talked about the pink team in a while, but they've been doing a whole bunch of rebuilding because they fell apart a while ago and they don't want to fall apart again. So they're working on themselves. Anyways, heading up to this guy right to their north, they're going to go ahead and expand kind of along the border of the pink team. Not really, though, because they are a very underpopulated country and they don't really have much of a country, to say the least. So, yeah, this is probably one of the least populated countries in the world, and it has very little control over its territory. So, yeah, take this with a grain of salt. This is probably not what it would look like at all. But yeah, let's head on over to the Estonian region, which is going to go ahead and revolt away from the Polish kind of thing. I don't really know what this is. It's like a mixture of Eastern European and Central European countries. Like it has parts of Belarus, has parts of Germany, of course, most of Poland and the Baltic states. Like what is going on here? But yeah, let's not focus on that and instead focus on the beautiful new state of Estonia that's about to be created here. And this state will be a lot larger than Estonia is in real life. It's going to extend further southward, but does that really matter when it's gaining its independence anyway? No. So yeah, we're gonna see Estonia forming here. I'm gonna change up this border because I don't really like it. And I think this is the border we're gonna run with, for now at least. I might change something at some point, but yeah, for now this is what we're gonna work with. And yeah, let's go ahead and head on over to Asia, which these countries have been developing for quite some time now. First, we're going to head on over to this Thai country here, which is going to expand up more northward and also eastward. I totally almost didn't forget that direction for a second, but yeah, we're going to see them expanding into all this land here. They're also going to expand all the way down here to this explored area mark here, and we'll talk more about the exploration later after I figure out what's going on with the pixels here, because I have no idea what's going on, and I hate it, and it shouldn't do this. Come on. Okay, I think there we go. We got it. That is hopefully the last time I ever have to deal with something like that. It's not going to be, but might as well hope. Anyways, heading over to the Vietnamese country, they're going to go ahead and expand through this area here, and they're also going to begin taking this coastline off of the Cambodian area here. They also expand more inward towards their northern areas, and this is to kind of consolidate control in the region because, I mean, you have a capital, but if it's like 2 meters away from unclaimed land, how protected it really is it? You got to make sure it's protected, and the Vietnamese are trying to work towards that right now. Anyways, talking about exploration now, this whole area up here has gone ahead and gone explored. As well as this, they have explored all the way down into Malaysia here, where we're going to see a new country forming completely separate from all these other countries. And let's go with this color. It's really hard to find colors that are completely unique, but this will have to do for now. And this country will be dead set on exploring into the area they believe is Indonesia, which it is, but they don't really know that yet. So, yeah, we'll talk more about those guys later, and more so about the Chinese states now, because these guys are going to go ahead and divide up most of the remainder of this territory here. First of all, this greenish thing will claim all this land here, and they're going to connect up with this bluish thing. I'm just calling these things things now, or these countries things now. See, I'm doing it again. It's weird, but yeah. Anyways, let's see this bluish thing consolidate its borders. They're not really going to be consolidating much because really they don't need to. They only need to consolidate their more eastern area here, which they will go ahead and do, but there's not much of a purpose in doing so. Anyways, we're now going to talk about the naval expansion really quickly because at this point, Taiwan has fully been discovered by the naval explorers here, and they've also begun to explore the lower Japanese islands, and they're beginning to realize that there's something here as the Koreans just discovered Japan. That is pretty big, and I need to remember to keep up with my naval exploration on this map because I've just not been doing that. Heading down over back to Southeast Asia, it's just not. And yeah, let me fix this up really quickly. Not that hard of a fix, but yeah, we'll talk more about naval technology some other time. But yeah, like areas of East Africa, I got lazy here and completely forgot. But now we're gonna see that this is a lot more explored than it is now. And also, Socotra has definitely been explored at this point. Around the western coast of Africa, they've definitely explored most of this. They probably know about Cabo Verde, but I'm not gonna do that right now. And I think that is mostly it. I feel like the North Sea they've fully explored at this point. And I mean, they also know about the White Sea, so explore that. So yeah, I think this is our updated naval knowledge map, except for this lake here, which I'll color now, and these over here. And I think that is perfect now. Maybe. Anyways, I'm not going to get distracted anymore. So I'm going to talk about these guys over here. And the first country we're going to talk about is this guy up here in the north because they are going to expand pretty quickly. They're going to take over all this land here. And that's about all they're able to do because they're going to kind of get surrounded here by this blue Chinese country. This blue country is definitely the main China. Um, that also makes them more prone to want to explode, but I mean, it's okay. Also, episode 100 of Wixo was peak, and I'm realizing now that this series might be cooked with Wixo ending, so yeah, I'm gonna probably have to find something new to do. Just kidding, the series isn't ending. Anyways, back to what I was saying about Taiwan. It has now been fully explored landwise, and this green country is gonna go ahead and make a land claim to it. So yeah, Taiwan's been fully claimed, and I have no idea what I want to do next because I still don't plan these videos. Yay. We're gonna head on over to Africa though, and we're going to talk about these guys for a quick second because they have been rapidly exploring inwards and southwards. Southwards, they've explored all the way down to this area of South Africa, and inwards, they've explored to Lake Malawi and Tanganyika, both respectively, as well as definitely Lake Victoria at this point. They definitely know about these three lakes. As well as this, they have probably explored more and more of Ethiopia. So, this is probably the exploration map we're working with. And I'm not going to forget the water this time. Let's go. But yeah, this is what they know about in this region here. We're going to actually see them expanding more inward. Starting off, we're going to check up with this Tanzanian country because they are the most developed of all the countries in this region, and they will go ahead and claim all the land up to this line I'm creating here. I start talking before I even know what I'm even gonna say. But yeah, we're gonna see the Tanzanian country claiming all this land here, which is a pretty valuable piece of land. From here, we're gonna see the Kenyans expanding into a lot of the area north of this. I mean, it doesn't really matter what they expand into because they're kind of isolated, but yeah, we're gonna see something happening here, and this is some unclaimed land. We'll see how that will get resolved later, but not now. Heading over to this Mozambique country, they are kind of just doing this. They haven't expanded outside of that because they are more focused on what is happening down here. Because we're going to see a brand new country forming up, and this will be this pinkish kind of country. It's just going to kind of spawn in, kind of like how these three did, but yeah, everyone's looking at them and they're wondering what's going on here. So yeah, that'll be figured out some other time. West Africa is a completely different story because these guys are completely disconnected. They don't they don't really care about each other. So yeah, these guys they probably are a little more disconnected, and these guys probably have no idea what's happening even up here in northern Africa. They definitely don't know what's going on in Europe and Asia or East Africa for that matter. So yeah, these guys are just going to do their own thing. And by their own thing, I mean this Nigerian country will be expanding inward because, I mean, who's stopping them? I mean, they have a pretty large population, I'm pretty sure, because it's Nigeria. It's a pretty populated region, pretty suitable for population growth, but yeah, who knows? Anyways, moving on to this orange country here, they've been working towards exploring a lot of this area here, and they have done that pretty well. And they're going to go ahead and kind of have a group shoot off from them and form their own new country over here in this Ghana kind of region over here. And this new country will begin to rapidly um, exceed, I guess is the right word to use, rapidly exceed what the Orange Country thought they'd be able to do, because these guys are kind of a separatist group because they didn't like the leader of this guy, and they just left. And now the Orange team is mad at them, so they might do something about that, but who knows? Heading up to this guy here, they're gonna expand a teensy bit. I don't see really why they would, but I mean, they will. They're going to take that land there, and they're also going to take some more inland area here, which they're going to take some unexplored land, which implies that this is actually explored land. We just haven't covered the fact that it's been explored. And yeah, I feel like that is what we are now looking at. Heading on over to Europe, we're going to see something bad happening for a certain country that has ruled Europe for a while now. And this will be a massive collapse for their minor groups because there are a whole bunch of groups within them that are just not ethnically related, and they're gonna want to break away. And this is none other than the Dutch country. They're gonna be losing control over a lot of their regions. The first region they're gonna be forced to let go is over here in the Alps. We're gonna see a new country being created, which will be a weird Swiss mountain kind of country. It's gonna be very small, and it's probably never gonna do anything relevant. But we're just gonna see this guy getting created, and they're gonna be that color. I kind of hate that. Let me make it like a goldish, maybe. That works a little better, but still not favorable in my opinion. Anyways, from here, we're gonna see this dark blue country kind of getting some land. They're kind of stealing it though, but they're gonna take this land here pretty unopposed, and I don't really like how that border came out, so I'm gonna change how it looks a little bit. Not all too much though, because then that would make it like irrelevant. I think that's fine, maybe. But yeah, let's head on over to their northern area where we're gonna see the independence of the state of Denmark. And this state is pretty influential in their region because they're gonna be able to convince some regions that aren't even part of the ethnic Denmark area to join up with them. This guy is pretty influential. Anyways, we're going to see one last group breaking away, and this group will be a pretty large one because they're going to be over here in this Austrian area, and they are a pretty large group within the Maroon team, but they're just going to kind of break away, and they're going to be able to form their own new country, which I really hate how it looks. I'm going to change it. Think first I'm gonna cede some land over to this blue guy, only to make it look cooler on that side. Then I think I'm gonna give some land to the Venetian country. Um, yeah, I think I like that a little more. And then we're gonna give this little sliver of land here to them, as well as a little more northern land here and a little bit of outer land here. And I think now with this country is gonna look somewhat better. I think I like that better. So yeah, we're gonna see new countries popping up out of the Maroon team, and the Maroon team is scared for their life, so they're gonna implement reforms that are aimed at making their country more stable and protecting them from inevitable collapse if they don't. So yeah, without any more countries to release, we now get to look at these capitals. Yours is there, yours is there, and yours will be there. And there might be some countries I forgot to give capitals, like these African countries. And I'm just gonna dot around some capitals really quickly. If that's not all of them, you need a capital. You're gonna put yours right there. And I think that's it. I think that's every single country. And with me only having less time, because it's past 22 minutes, I'm going to end the episode here. If you made it this far into the video, make sure you do subscribe. It shows that you support it. If you like the video, it shows that you want to see more content like this. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.